Or 62-713 soil treatment facilities. Intent. The prior to adopting the chapter of the facility, the thermal treatment of the petroleum contained facility, contaminated soil regulated the chapter 62-775 facility intended with the department to repeal the chapter 62-775. The facility promulgated the chapter in its place. It also intended with the department to replace the rule provision of the cross-reference 62-775 Port Administration codes that correctly reference the chapter that's proper. The purpose of this chapter is to serve forth the requirements of the proper design and operation of closure facilities will treat the various kinds of contaminated soil. Regardless of the treatment technology used, this chapter also creates the criteria of evaluating the contaminated soil that adequately treated with the considered clean soil. The chapter provides method of improving the treatment of contaminated materials other than soil, improving the beneficial use of soil, other materials which have not been treated with to meet the clear soil criteria. The method is intended to apply with the case basis of the permit modification. The chapter is intended to apply the sanitary soil treatment of facilities that accept the contaminated soil from more than one off-site location to mobile soil treatment facilities operated with the contaminated site prior to the approval of the remedial action plans. This chapter does not apply to on-site treatment of the contaminated site, and if the on-site of the treatment of the site has been previously approved, the department part of the remedial action activity is allowed according to the source removal provision rule 62-770 300 Florida Administration Code specific authority 403061 40370 Fuller Florida State Law implemented 403707 Florida State History News August 5th 1999. Alright, 613-713, which is the solid trace from the treatment facility definition. The addition to the definition of the 62-701 200 of the Florida State Code solely the purpose of the chapter the following. The word is phrase, the term shall have the following meaning. The background concentration means the concentration of contamination that are naturally occurring with the groundwater, surface water, soil, sediment, with the vicinity of the site. Clean site. Oil means the soil which has been treated with the soil treatment, which is received completed with the post-treatment analysis, which meets the criteria specified with the subsection 63-713 520 Florida Administration Code. Contaminated soil means the soil that is contaminated with concentrated chemical constitutes that are excessive to residential desired direct exposure soil. Clean up the target level. Table 2 of the chapter 62-777 of the familiar Florida Administrative Codes and soil cleaning property target level calculated in accordance with C2 713 522C with the Florida Administration Codes. Also expected results expenditures results exceeding to the Department of the Groundwater of the Surface Water Standards of the criteria evaluated in paragraph 62 713 510C 6D Facility of Florida Administration Codes. Mobile soil treatment means the soil thermal treatment of the facility with the transported soil contamination site for the soil perfect the treating of the permanent petroleum contaminated soil for the specific state. The non-petroleum contaminated soil means the contaminated soil which does not meet the definition of petroleum contaminated soil. Petroleum contaminated soil means the soil which becomes contaminated with one or more of the following liquid products made from petroleum, all forms of fuel known as gasoline, diesel fuel, jet fuel, kerosene, grade 2 through 6 fuel oils, crude oil, bunker to sea, oil, residual oils, non-hazardous petroleum base for lubricant, hydraulics, and mineral oil. The definitions include soils although predominantly contaminated with petroleum. This also contains small amounts of volatile organic hydrocarbons, provided the total weight of volatile organic halocarbons in soil than less than 1% of the total weight of the petroleum contamination in soil will determine the total recovery petroleum hydrocarbons analysis. 7. Soil treatment facility. This means a stationary mobile facility designed to construct and utilize permitted by the department to handle the store and treat the process of the contaminated soil. There does not include electrical power plants in which the thermal treatment of the contaminated soil is from the proper result of the ash which is disposed in accordance with chapter 62-701 and 62-702. Florida Administrative Code does not include the facilities of the treatment of the hazardous waste. Stationary soil treatment is the means of the facility which the treatment of the soil contaminated with petroleum and other chemical contaminations which generated the off-site location transported to the facility. Non-treated soil means the soil which undergoes the treatment of soil treatment of the facility reduced level of contamination in soil. The treatment soil includes clean soil, with undergone treatment that has not been analyzed. The soil which has undergone the treatment but not been mean of the definition clean soil. With the treated soil does not include soil which has been blended but then undergone other treatment in the process of the facility. Volatile organic aromatics mean the contamination benzoyl, toluene, total xylenes, and ethanol benzol with the petroleum contaminated soil. Volatile organic hydrocarbons, organic compounds chemically combined with one or more of the following: hydrogen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Total weight of volatile organic hydrocarbons. Soil sample shall be the sum of the concentration individual volatile organic hydrocarbons listed determined in the EPA method of the 8021B or EPA method 80260B. Specific authority 403061 and 403704 Florida State Law 4037 Florida State History News, August 5th, 1999. All right, 6713, solid treatment facilities, documents incorporated with reference to 210, the Environmental Protection Agency publication SW846 of the Chapter 9, the sample planning test method evaluating solid waste physical chemical methods, 1982, third edition, amended with the final update of 3 May 1997, the technical report of development soil cleanup at the target level for the Chapter 6277, from Florida Administration Code, final report of the date of May 26, 1999, following the Environmental Protection Agency test method found in the Environmental Protection Agency documentation SW846 of the test method evaluating solid waste physical chemical methods of 1982 third edition amended with the final update of 3 of May 1997. Method 1311, toxicity characteristical leaching procedure. Method 1312, the synthetic perception leaching procedure. Method 8021B, aromatic and halogenated volatiles by gas chromatography using photoionization electrolytically conductive detectors. Method 8260B, volatile organic compounds by with the gas of the chromatography mass spectrometry. Specific authority 403-061, 403-704, Florida laws implemented 403-707, Florida History News, August 5th, 1999. All right. 62713 is sold treatment facilities. Approval of the alternative procedure requirements. The owner of the operative facility may request the alternative procedure requirements with the Rule 62-701-3010. In addition, the owner operator may request alternative procedure requirements with the appropriate district office. The department shows successive requests should intend to provide a permanent application modification needs not to be accompanied by the additional fee. However, all the other traffic and other criteria of the 62-701-3010 must meet the requirements under the subsection shall be limited to the following: the treatment materials other than soil. The department shall approve the retreat the soil-like materials such as the sludge tank residue subordinate materials upon demonstration for the facility will be designated or operated with proper treatment. Such materials evaluated either of the disposed in accordance with the provision of the draft of the beneficial use of the treated soil which does not meet the criteria for the clean soil. The department shall approve such of the request of the demonstration for the proposed the treated soil will not pose a significant threat to public health and environment. Making the demonstration of the proposed own operator may consider the background concentration for the receiving soil with the material will be blended with other materials, potential pathways, exposure, contamination for the institution, engineering controls to reduce potential for the exposure, the likelihood that the materials may have the unlimited distribution coming into direct with the contact with the public. Specific authority 403-601-061, 403-704, Florida law implemented 403-707, Florida History News, August 5th, 1999. 300. Okay, 300. All right, 62-713, solid treatment facilities for general provision applicability. The chapter applies to only soil treatment facilities. Nothing in the chapter constructed with authorized disposal of solid waste at the soil treatment facility. No such person shall construct, operate a soil instrument facility without permit issued with the Department of Persons operating the soil treatment facility under the permit including the general permit issued with the Department prior to the August 5th, 1999. May continue to operate the facility under the terms of the existing permit of themselves expires except with the treated soil shall meet the requirements of Rule 62-713-520. In a facility to February 1st, 2000, modification, renewals, existing permits, all new construction, operation permits issued by the August 5th, 1999 for the soil treatments should comply with its rules. Designation requires subsection 62-713-401E and the 2, and Florida Administrative Code shall not apply with the facility which, with the construction complete by the August 5th, 1955. August 5th, 1999. The designing requirements will apply with the later expansion of such facility groundwater mounting plants which have been approved by the Department prior to the August 5th, 1999 will consider to meet the requirements of subsection 62-713-403. Florida Administration provided the facility has been significantly changed in operation type. The materials are perceptive, but the approval was given for the facilities operating under the general permit timely sufficient application of operating permit. The soil treatment facility with renewal application for purposes of Section 126A for Florida State Statute. For the other requirements, treatment facilities considered solid waste management facilities, contaminated soil considered solid waste following provision 62-701 will apply with such facilities unless otherwise specified herein. 62-701-200 Florida Administration Code of Definition 62-701-301 2C and H T2C through H the Florida Administration Code Prohibitions Rule 62-701-310 Florida Administration Approval Florida Administration Code approval of the alternative procedure requirements. Rule 62-701-320, Florida Administration Solid Waste Management Facility Permit requirements, general subsection 62-701-320, any 12, the Florida Administration regarding setbacks at the airport does not apply for the soil treatment facilities unless the facility accepts the soil contaminated with putrescible waste. All right, for the stationary for the facilities, stormwater with controls in accordance with the chapter 6225 of the 62-330, Florida Administration copy of the permit of the stormwater control is issued by the department, and the documentation not such of the permit is required but submitted to the department before the facility requires the waste. The application should be aware of the government agencies may regulate the stormwater management, may require separate permits. Nothing of the chapter be constructed except for the facilities in compliance with local zoning and landing ordinances. With any other rules in the ordinances, the application should be aware of the department of permits include the permits for the air and the surface of the water. Discharge and solid waste disposal may be required in soil treatment facilities. No hazardous waste should be accepted in the treatment of the soil treatment facility unless the facility is permitted with the treat hazardous pursuant to chapter 62-730. The blending of the soil either before and after the treatment is allowed with an activity enhancement of the trees for beneficial use of the soil if it included with the facility operation plan with the following exemption. The blending of the contaminated soil with uncontaminated soil is to avoid treating of the contaminated soil is prohibited. Soil will exhibit the characteristics of the toxicity of the metals. EPA HW number D004G011 established in Title 40 CFR 261-424 may not be blended. The owner and operator of the facility shall maintain the records blending of the procedure for the use before and after the treatment. Each of the records of the blending of the ratio calculation, estimated total metals and concentration, blending of the soil, resampling analysis of the blending of the soil, acceptability, permittable application of the construction of the operator of the stationary soil treatment facility shall be submitted with the form 62-713-901, shall be signed and dated with the sleeve of the professional engineer registered in Chapter 471. Florida State statutes should provide the information required by the subsection 62-701-325, 678A, and 14. Florida Administration Code shall include the following information: a site plan and scale not greater than 200 feet to the inch, and shows the facility location to divide the proposed treated, untreated soil storage areas, the total acreage within the site, any feature of the relevance of the prohibition, local restriction of the rule, such as water bodies, wetlands, on or within 200 feet of the site, or potable water wells, and or within 500 feet of the site. Detailed description of how the application will comply with the facility design requirements contained in the Rule 62-713-400 of the Florida Administration Code of Hydrogeological Investigation, which meet the criteria of the Rule 62-701-410 Florida Administration Code certification signed with the professional engineer registered under the Chapter 471 of the professional geologist registered in the Chapter 492. But the location of the facility is not reusable, subject to the sinkholes, but has adequately subsurface strength to support the weight of the facility. The ground monitoring plan, which meets the criteria set forth in 62-713-403 Florida Administration Code. The operational plan describes how the application will comply to the Rule 62-713-500 Florida Administration Code. The soil sampling analysis describes how the application will apply to the 62-713-510 Florida Administration Code. The detailed description of how the application will comply with the use treated soil requirements contained in Rule 62-713-520. The H closure and long-term care with the term plan will describe how the applicants will comply with subsection 62-713-601 through 5 of the Florida Administration Codes. I, the financial assurance documentation required for the 62-713-606 of the Florida Administration Code. J, the documentation of the application for the owners of the land of the legal authorization landowner with the use of the land for the soil, the treatment of the facility, conducting long-term care. 4. Fees. The fee of the permit constructing operating enclosed the soil treatment is for $2,000. The fee for renewing the permit that does not involve the additional construction significantly differential treatment process for $1,000. The fee of the renewing permit involving only the long term with the care of $250. The fee of the generating to operate mobile soil treatment facility is $250. Thereby, the several requirements through the chapter of the requirements demonstration must be provided by the department unless otherwise specified. The means of the requirements of the demonstration is submitted by the appropriate department district office as part of the permanent application request. The permanent modification, the department will evaluate such requests to demonstrate, according to the applicable criteria set forth in the chapter, will approve the modified and permit the conditions of those criteria are met. Solely the purpose of the chapter maintained is the treated soil will not be considered to pose a significant threat to the public health of the environment if it is used or stored or disposed so that the excessive lifetime cancer risk level is equal to 1.0 or times 10.6 of the non-calculable measure of all potential exposure pathways to have been eliminated. Concentrated contamination of the treated soil no greater than the corresponding background concentration of the receiving soil. The hazardous index on hazardous quotients is less than or equal to 1.0, not calculable because of all the potential exposures pathways have been eliminated. The concentration of contamination in the treated soil are no longer greater than the corresponding background concentration of receiving soil. The Department of Groundwater Surface Water Standards of the criteria will not be violated. See Section Pacific Authority 403061, 403704 laws, Florida laws implemented 403087, 877, 403707 Florida history Evening News, the August 5th, 1999. All right, now we move on to the 400. All right, 62, 713 is solid waste treatment facilities. 400 is stationary soil treatment facility design requirements. Soil treatment facility should be designed to both the contaminated treated soil to minimize the threat of the public health environment. The design of the soil treatment facility should be based upon technology with the responsibility expected to produce the treated soil managed according to the draft will not pose significant threat to the public health environment. The permanent application of the soil treatment facility should include the following design requirements: description, likely high source of the contaminated soils, which propose to manage the treatment facility, identification, contamination concerning the acceptance to present the soil form the source prescribed the description maximum capacity contaminated soil and it's designed to process either tons per day for the continuous flow of treatment the process such the thermal treatment of the total tons of the batch treatment the process of bioremediation detailed the description of the treatment of the technology function all the processing equipment that will be used the description shall be explained flow of the contaminated soil through all the proposed operations explained with the associated equipment the operation and details should include regular facility as the expected to occur to procedure startup and scheduled or unscheduled shutdown operations potential safety hazard control methods including fire direction and control, the description and any expected air emissions and wastewater discharge for the facility, which may be potential pollution, source of the chemical composition, usage rate of any of the chemical additives which will be used in the treatment process, the description using rate of the biological additive that will be used in the treatment process, 7 the flow diagrams of the facility operation, 8 for the continuous flow of the treatment, description of the equipment design criteria, critical operation parameters for the unit was selected, but including maximum design flow rates required for the heat of the input, the minimum residence time, the required treatment temperature of the expected equipment performance benign the batch treatment the process description of the design criteria critical operation parameters including minimum required soil holdings minimum area the requirements for the treatment maximum soil pile height minimum distance allowed for the between the coil contaminated soil windrows minimums maximum allowed temperature and airflow orientation nutrition radiation aeration piping and for the treatment technology other than thermal treatment of the petroleum soil results in state of the pilot project the actual operating facility demonstrated feasibility of the technology proposed in the treating of this contaminated soil at the facility which supports the proposed design criteria, operating parameters. D, the description of loading and unloading bay processing areas. A description of lachate control system was designated to prevent the discharge of lachate mixing with lachate with the stormwater all areas containment soil where the processing takes place with the control result in the release of the lachate of the treated soil which has not been met the criteria with the clean soil that's stored but must have an impervious surface with the lachate collection system when they cover the roof of the design to prevent the contact of the rainfall with the soil. For the purpose, the rule and impervious surface must be poured with the concrete pad having a minimum thickness of 4 inches, or asphalt concrete paving of the minimum thickness of 1 1/2 inches with additional compact with restriction latching for the groundwater such as the soil, cement, sub-base, and epoxy and geomembrane. A certification after the completion of construction of the soil for treatment facility before acceptance of contaminated soil, the engineer record shall certify to the department Form 62701-902 the permitted construction complete that it was done in accordance with the plan of the plant design submitted to the department with a minor deviation when necessary. All the deviations should be described in detail with the reason with Air Force and enumerated with the application provided at least 7 days in advance to notice the department treated prior to the acceptance of contaminated soil. The department has the opportunity to inspect the facility. Water quality monitoring plan and water quality monitoring plan meets the requirements of Rule 62.701.510 and 62.522. Board administration goes based on the hydrogeological investigation required of the 62.713.303C shall be included with the permit application should be implemented maintained by the owner and operated with the following additions exemptions. A. All the areas of the contaminated soil and treated soil which has not been met the criteria for the clean soil are stored as well as processing area must be located with the groundwater monitoring system. B. The well spacing requirements of paragraph 62.701.510.3D3 Florida administration goes do not apply the minimum of 1 up gradient and 2 down gradient well as required specified in chapter 62.522 Florida administration goes the quality of the parameters subsection 62.701.510.8 Florida administration goes does not apply the routine testing testing except for the prescribed below rather than routine water quality parameters with the groundwater sample the surface of water sampling the lachate sample should be based upon the types of contaminated soil from the facility will treat and shall include the field of the parameters listed in paragraph 62, 701, 510, 8, and B and C. For the Florida Administration groundwater, surface water, last shade, respectively, shall include the following test parameters for petroleum contaminated soil, the volatile organic aromatics, polar nuclear aromatic hydrocarbons, arsenic, cadmium, chromium, and lead for non-petroleum contaminated soils, volatile organic compounds, semi-volatile organic compounds, pesticides, arsenic, barium, cadmium, chromium, lead, mercury, psyllium, and silver. For routine representative sample of the ground sample water, the backgrounds of the detection wells and surface washer, last shade collectively analyzed the semi-annually. The background water quality shall be sampled and analyzed in accordance with the provisions set paragraph 62, 701, 510, 6A. For the administration, in addition, with all the background and detection wells shall be sampled and analyzed at least once prior to the prior permanent renewal with the parameters listed in 62, 701, 510, 8A, Florida Administration Code. The owner and operator of the facility may request a permit or modification appropriate to the district office of the department to delete the specific water with water quality permits with the routine analysis sample of detection water, wells, surface waters, and last shade. The department will grant request the permit modification demonstrates that the parameters are not reasonably accepted to be and derived with the waste that was received. The facility generated as part of the treatment. The progress of last shade sampling may be used to support the demonstration. Last shade sampling requires some paragraph 62701, 510, 6B2 and Florida Administration Code shall not apply with the specific authority 403061, 403704. Florida State Law implemented 403707. Florida State History News, August 5th, 1999. All right, 62, 713, 500 operational requirements. Owners and operators of station or sole treatment that shall comply with the following operational requirements. An operational plan for the facility prepared will include the description, general facility operation number, the personnel responsible for the operation, include the respective job description, type of the equipment that will be used in the facility, procedure for chemical testing, contaminated soil, receive the facility, properly manage to dispose of the unauthorized soil, procedure to ensure the treatment, post-treatment is required, testing requirements, rule 62, 713, 510 for the Florida Administration properly implemented, contingency plan for the cover of the operating and interpretation emergency such as fires, explosion, natural disaster, description whether all contaminated soil, treated soil, will stored in facility procedure to ensure the operational records are required for the subsection of the 5 of the rule. They are adequately prepared to maintain it, and the procedure to ensure the batch of the contaminated soil should clearly identify the source of the stockpile separately until all the pre-treatment, sampling, analysis required in 62, 713, 510 are complete. All activities of the facility shall be performed in accordance with the operational plan of the facility, permitted conditions. The requirements of this chapter of the operational plan is updated with the operation change not less frequently than upon the renewal of the permanent department shall notify the changes to the operational plan other than required routine maintenance unless the alternating quantity is included with the operational plan submitted with the permanent application includes the demonstrated large volume untreated soil can be managed with the facility. Minimum quantity of untreated soil stored at the facility is limited to 30 times of the average day throughput of the treatment equipment is being used. The continuous flow of the treatment process, the amount of contaminated soil that can be treated based on the minimum area, maximum soil height requirements of subparagraph 62, 713, 401, 400, 1C9 of the Florida Administrative Code, the batch treatment process. 4. Contaminated soil should be physically screened and otherwise processed in order to ensure the particular grade inside the water will properly be treated with the preventive of the entire of the treating use on the allowable particle size of the 2-inch mesh of the diameter smaller unless demonstrated with provided with the permanent application of the treatment unless adequately processed with large particle size. Non-treatable materials physically screened with the contaminated soil should be disposed with the permitted with the Class 1 landfill waste to the energy facility if allowed under the facility permit certification. All operation records that shall be maintained and kept at the facility for the minimum of 5 years should be available for the inspection for the department. These records shall include the following: tonnage of soil received on the job per basis, along with required pre-treatment and analytical records, daily operating log demonstrating the critical operational parameters contained in the subparagraph 62, 713, 401, C, 8, and 9 Florida Administration Codes. Achieved blending records required for the paragraph 62, 713, 302F in Florida Administration Code. Soil testing record required for the Form 62, 713, 903 with the result in additional soil laboratory analysis required with Rule 62, 713, 510, 62, 713, 520 with the Florida Administration Codes needed to operate the facility management treated soil. Any hazardous waste for the inadvertently accepted and generated in the facility as a result of the treatment process shall be managed with the hazardous waste pursuant to Chapter 62, 730 of Florida Administration Codes. Specific authority is 403, 061, 403, 704, Florida State Laws, 403, 707, Florida History, August 5th, 1999. All right, 6713 is the soil treatment facilities. 510 is soil sampling analysis planning. Permanent application station or soil treatment facilities shall include the soil sampling analysis plan to describe the sampling procedure necessary to properly characterize both contaminated treated soil. Manage the facility. The plan shall ensure that the representative samples of the soils are obtained to exhibit the chemical contamination, the concentration of contamination in the soil. The sufficient number of these samples are collected to represent the variability of the contamination of the soil. The plan shall include the documentation sample analysis under the rules shall be performed in accordance with the Chapter 62, 160. For administration goes, the analysis should be conducted with the detection limits which are below the relevant soil cleanup target levels of the Table 2 with the Chapter 62, 777 Florida administration code, applicable groundwater surface water standards with the criteria for the chemical concern in the soil. The plan shall include a detailed description of the procedure will be used that will obtain the representative soil sample. The plan with the soil collection frequency. The description shall apply with the soil before and after treatment, unless specified with the section soil sampling analysis of the procedure contained with the Environmental Protection Agency. A publication SWA 46 of the Chapter 9 sampling plan shall be used. 3. General plan requirements. The plan should include detailed description of contamination responsibility expected to present contaminated soils with treated facility. The test method will be used to analyze the soils for the parameters before and after the treatment, unless otherwise specified in the chapter. The pre-treatment and the post-treatment testing requirements shall be used for the contaminant reasonable expected with the present contaminated soil. 4. The pre-treatment and testing for the petroleum contaminated soil. The description of the pre-treatment testing plan for the petroleum contaminated soil filing to apply. Petroleum contaminated soil from all the sites approved for the site assessment and report according to the requirements of Chapter 62, 770 of Florida Administration Codes. Existing the data from the site of assessment may be used in the documentation 62, 713, 9003 of the lieu of the separation and pre-treatment assessment. Sample frequency contained in the Table A with the shall be minimum allowed to analyze that shall be documented with the laboratory reports following the test of media test parameters shall be included volatile organic hydrocarbons, total recoverable petroleum hydrocarbons, total analyzed arsenic, cadmium, chromium, and lead, and for the soils contaminated using analysis of the total organic halogen shall also be required. Pre-treating testing of the non-petroleum contaminated soil. In the description of the pre-treating testing, the plan with the non-petroleum contaminated soil for the following: the non-petroleum contaminated soil with the site, which is a site assessment previously approved with the department, and similar site assessment documentation previously approved with the department. Existing data of the site assessment may be used in documentation for the Form 62, 713, 900 with the lieu of the separation pre-treatment analysis. The description of pre-treatment testing provided with the non-petroleum contaminated soil, the sample of frequency contained in the Table A shall be made. Minimal allowed analysis should be documentation laboratory reports following test parameters shall be included, unless the facility owner operator demonstrated warm where the parameters are not reasonable, expected to present the contaminated soil, volatile organic compounds, semi-volatile organic compounds, 3 pesticides, total analysis with arsenic, barium, cadmium, chromium, lead, mercury, selenium, and silver. 6. Post-treatment system testing. The post-treatment system should be designed to ensure the facility is achieving the requirement for the evaluation and use of the soil in Chapter Rule 62, 713, 520. In the description of the post-treatment testing, the following apply with the following sample. The frequency should be used for volatile organic compounds. At least one of the discrete sand oil sample should be collected every 400 tons of the treatment soil. For all other chemicals and compounds continue to flow the treatment process, the use of the treatment soil sample should be collected at least hourly composite over either operational hour with a maximum time interval at least for every 400 tons, whichever is less. Each batch of treatment processes are used for the treated soil composite sample consisting of at least 4 randomly selected subsamples collected no less than over the 400 tons of treated soil. For petroleum contaminated soil, the following parameters should include all analysis of the documentation with the laboratory reports volatile organic aromatics, the total recoverable petroleum hydrocarbons, polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons, total analysis arsenic, cadmium, chromium, and lead. For non-petroleum contamination soil test parameters are required in paragraph B of the subsection F5 that shall be included in the analysis shall document the laboratory reports. Alright. The leachability impacts and the indication for the test requirement above the post-treatment is included with the analysis of the potential leachability impact for the tread soil, and all analysis of the documented laboratory reports when evaluating leachability impacts from the tread soil concentration contamination documented with the post-treatment analysis of the treatment soil compared with the corresponding soil cleanup target levels of leachability based on the ground surface water criteria identified in Table 2 of Chapter 62, 777 Florida Administration Codes. Alternative leachability of the treated soil can be evaluated using synthetic preciptation leaching procedure or SPLP, Environmental Protection Act method 1312, the toxicity characteristic leaching procedure or TCLP, the Environmental Protection Action method 1311 for the soil contaminated with the use of oil, similar product, petroleum product extracts generated for the using the procedure shall be analyzed with contamination design. The post-treatment analysis of the treated soil results of the analysis except extracts compared with the groundwater surface water criteria with the common table of chapter 6277 Florida Administrative Codes. Alright. 7 polychlorinated bioethanols. Soil contaminated with the oil used in hydraulic oil, used mineral oil may contain the polychlorinated bioethanols. All applications shall be aware of the contained soil with the regulated U.S. Environmental Protection Agency under Title 42 of Article 761. Soil contamination and BCPs shall be treated with the pursuant to the chapter of the soil treatment facility unless the following conditions are met. Soil contaminated with the use of the hydraulic oil, use of mineral oil, analysis of the PCB and conservation. Soil PCB concentration must be less than 500 ppm. The soil not blended with the mix is diluted to meet the specification. B, the analytical results obtained with the pursuant paragraph A of the above are equal to greater than 2 ppm. The sample the use of oil with the hydraulic oil, the use of mineral oil sources may not be shown with the PCB concentration less than 500 ppm. If sample the use of the hydraulic oil is used mineral oil, then is not available. The previous record of laboratory analytical results may be utilized with the show the PCB concentration is used oil, used hydraulic oil, used mineral oil. If responsible effort the previous record of laboratory data, the analytical result can not be located at the beginning basis of not being to obtain the information documented the writing, maintaining the facility operation records. Soil may be treated in accordance with the paragraph A above. Additional metals leachability testing and the total concentration of metal of the soil sample to which be analyzed according to the requirements Rule 62, 713, 510. Exceeds the corresponding total metal concentration in Table B, then CCP P test should be required for the metal in the soil. Specific Authority 403061, 403704, Florida State Law, implemented 403707, Florida State History News, August 5th, 1999. Alright, 62713 is the soil treatment facilities. 520 is the evaluation use of the treated soil. The permanent application of stationary soil treatment shall include the description of how the treated soil will be properly used, managed so that they will not pose the significant threat of the public health environment. A clean soil can be land and applied for the use without the further restriction. Example, the clean soil should not be deposited in the surface water wetland unless demonstrated the clean soil is not expected to cause surface water violations. Here, the toxic aquatic life that does not contain the other chemicals materials caused by the nuisance odors and saturated clean soil is treated with soil in which meets the following criteria. The concentration contamination detected in the treated soil are at the below the according to concentration for the residential director exposure of soil cleanup targets containing the table 2 of chapter 62777 or administration provided with the paragraph 62C below. The concentration of all contaminants detected with the treated soil are below the corresponding soil cleanup target levels and the leachability identified in Table 2, Chapter 62777 of the Florida Administration Code. The application of leachability determination based on the SPLP test results and the TCLP test results for the soil will be contaminated with the use of similar products in lieu of the sum of all the values in Table 2 of the demonstrated Department of the Groundwater Surface Water Standards of the criteria will not be violated. And for the contamination detected and treated with not listed in Table 2 of the Chapter 62777, the Florida Administration soil cleanup target levels contamination to the test out of the case basis shall be calculated using the following: excess lifetime cancer risk level then equal to the 1.0 times 2.6. Hazard index sum of the hazardous quotients less than or equal to 1.0. Equations provided with the figures 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 in Chapter 62777 Florida Administration Codes applicable to the best achievable detection limits of chemical corrosion, chemical concern in the soil provided with the demonstration collection required subsection 2 above the made information contained with the technical report development in the soil cleanup target of the SCTLs. Chapter 62777, Florida Administration Final Report detailed May 26, 1999. Treated soil, which does not meet the criteria of the clean soil, shall be managed in the following manners. That may be treated again and may be blended in accordance with the paragraph 62, 713, 300 E. Florida Administration Code shall meet the criteria of the clean soil. Disposed of the Class 1 landfill waste energy facilities allowed under the facility permit and certification. Or D, it may beneficially be used in accordance with approval alternate procedure requirements provided in 62, 713, 220 Florida Administration Code. Specific Authority 403061, 403704 Florida Law, implemented 403707 Florida State History, August 5th, 1999. We have 2 more of these, and we're done with that, and that will be it for the night. Alright, zoom. All right, 62 713 is soil treatment facilities, 600 station soil treatment facility closure and financial assurance. One closure to the permanent application should enclose the closure plan identified with the steps needed to close the facility. The closure plan should demonstrate how the facility will close to meet the following requirements. There will be no need for further facility maintenance, examination of the soil. Except for the facility will not be exposed to the calculated violation of the Department of Water Quality standards. All tanks with the primary and secondary contaminant standards, similar equipment will be emptied and cleaned to remove at the site. The storage process with integral piping shall be enclosed with the corners for the chapter 62 761 Florida Administration Codes. Any contaminated soil of leachate on the site, including the pseudo soil, which has been contaminated during the facility operation, will be removed treated with the soil that is put. There's no significant threat to the human health or environment. At least 90 days prior to the date of the contaminated soil will no longer accepted the owner or operator of the facility. So submit and update the detailed closure plan with the Department of the for the change of the closure plan due to the actual operation conditions. As the facility updated shall be signed and data sealed with the professional engineer registered under Chapter 6471. With 90 days after receipt of the final ship of the contaminated soil, the owner and the operator should remove the otherwise dispose of the soil in accordance with the approved closure. Closure should be completed with 180 days after the receipt of the final ship of the contaminated soil, which the closure completed with the owner and operator shall provide with a written certification to the department that the closure is complete with the closure. The certification will be signed, dated, and sealed with the professional engineer registered in Chapter 471 Florida State Law. The department will make the inspection within 30 days to verify the closure advisor with the owner and the operator for the closure status, long-term care. The owner and operator of the soil treatment of the facility shall continue to monitor and maintain the facility for 5 years. From the date of the closing time period should extend the assessment product of the corrective action required in accordance with subsection 62701 of the 7 Florida Administration Code. If the site specification conditions, most likely the contamination which may emanate the storage areas would not be detected within 5 years. Long-term care does not be required if the owner or the operator demonstrates that all the contaminated soil with treated soil does not meet the criteria with the clean soil has been removed from the site, and the site specification conditions make it unlikely that the groundwater and surface waters to criteria that will be validly demonstrated shall be signed and seeded with the design, dated and sealed with the professional engineer registered in Chapter 471 of the professional geologist registered in Chapter 492 for the state statute. Upon demonstration, the owner and operator of the facility shall know further resistance final insurance obligation pursuant to subsection 62 713 600 Florida Administration Codes. Or 6, financial assurance. The owner or operator of the soil treatment of the facility should provide the department with the proof of financial assurance with the issue with the favor of the state of Florida and the amount of the closing long-term care cost estimates of the facility. Proof along with the closing and long-term care cost estimates shall be submitted to the department as part of the permanent application for the facility. Proof of financial assurance consists of one or more of the following financial instruments where they comply with the requirements of subsection 62 701 3636 Florida Administrative Code. Trust surety bond with guarantee payment with the surety bond guarantee performance and irrevocable letter of credit insurance for financial testing corporative guarantee if the owner and operator of the facility is local government they escrow with their account with the compliance with the requirements of subsection 62701 630 the Florida Administration Codes may be provided with the proof of financial assurance. Financial documentation should be submitted in Form 62701 900 5A B C D E F and G and H as appropriate. B. The purpose of determining the amount of the proof of the financial assurance required for the owner and operator to estimate the total cost of the closure of the facility. The annual cost of the long term shall be estimated listed separately with multiplied by 5 years. The owner and operator should submit the estimate of the department along with the proof of the financial assurance. The cost should be estimated. Professional engineer registered with the Chapter 471 with the third party performing the work on the per unit basis, which the source estimated indicated closed costs should include the estimated cost compliance with the subsection 1 of assuming the maximum amount of the treated and untreated soils specified in the permanent storage facility. Long term care costs should include the groundwater monitoring, collection, and analysis. C. Closure costs should be updated annually in accordance with the provision in paragraph 62701 634A through D Florida Administration Code. Specific authority 403061 403704 Florida's law implemented 403087 877 403707 Florida State History August 5th 1999. Alright, we have one more of these to go. Alright, hopefully I don't have to cut this for one video. Like, please just think it through. Like, and 613 800. remember that 62713 is solid treatment facilities. Try to view. Come on, view. Come on, come on, come on. I want to get done with this, like sometime today. Or 62713 solid treatment facilities, 800 is mobile soil treatment facilities. General permit center hereby granted to any person in the operation mobile soil treatment facility, the thermal treatment of the petroleum contaminated soil that will be operated in accordance with the standard criteria of the set forth in Part 3 of the Chapter 62.4 of the Florida Administration Code. The rule owner operated with the mobile soil treatment facility should notify the Department of the Form 62713-902 of the intent of the use of the general permit shall comply with the following requirements of mobile soil treatment facility operated with the intent of the thermal treatment of the petroleum contaminated soil will notify the appropriate district office of the Department of the Registered Mail at least 3 days prior to the initiating of operation of contaminated site. The Department recommends but does not require the owner to operate with also provide at least 3 days notice for the local city governments and local environmental agencies. An owner operated with a permit of the mobile soil treatment facility shall appropriate measure of the measure and the protection of the general public, including the following: security fence from the shelves around all the areas of contaminated soil proceeding with the install, including the stockpiling and handling of the treatment areas of fences extended at least 6 feet above the ground in lieu of the secondary fence surveillance person on site at all times. An acceptable alternative gate access should be located, should be locked and not intended to present. Appropriate warning notice should be clearly posted. For example, the notice should be warned with the presence of contaminated soil, present excavation, and presence of equipment. Mobile soil treatment of the facility shall be operated only at site when confirmed and contaminated shall retreat only the soil native to the site, unless transported outside of the permitted of the Class 1 landfill stationary soil treatment facility. Waste of the energy facility soil which is excavated which shall remain on site with the area of suspected groundwater contamination until soil has been treated so that it meets the criteria for the clean soil subsection section 71352 520 2 and 4 Florida Administration Codes. Executive excavated soil that is stockpiled on an impermeable surface to the liner of the minimum thickness of 5 mils. The stockpile shall be converted to the secured plastic cover with the minimum thickness of 5 mils of treatment and soil treatment in unit commence. The department recommends does not require the soil treated mobile facility should return to the original excavation pit. Stockpiles area with the untreated soil shall be graded with the direct last shade flow with return original excavation pit. The treatment of any non-petroleum contaminated soil prohibited with mobile soil treatment facility. Treatment of the soil contaminated polychlorinated bioethanol is prohibited in mobile soil treatment facility. 10. The thermal treatment of the technology other than rotatingly chem and thermal treatments results of the study of the pilot project's actual operation facilities demonstrated feasibility of the technology proposed with treating petroleum contaminated soil shall include as part of the notification of the use of general permit specific authority 403-061, 403-704, 403-814 Florida law implemented 403-707, 403-814 Florida State History News August 5th, 1999. And that completes the solid treatment facilities section of the Florida Administration Codes.